Alter State participants, dear mentors, partners, and everyone who have supported this project along the way. Dear viewers who are watching us through Delphi TV, welcome to the Alter State, the Nordic-Baltic Women Innovation Event Opening Day. My name is Živile, and I'm a co-founder of Alter State, and together with my colleagues, I will guide you through today's agenda. And we are more than excited to kick off today with this project, which is an international women innovation sprint, which aims to encourage women participation in the processes of innovation. It aims to invite innovators community to unite and solve the SDG challenges together, and to encourage STEAM education. This event wouldn't have happened without the help and support from our dear partners, Ignitis Group, Rocket, Future Leadership, and the Nordic Council of Ministers office in Lithuania. And of course, our beloved community partners and international mentors from all over the world. And right now, I would like to invite Živilė Skibarkienė, the Chief Organizational Development Officer, Executive Board Member of our main partner, Ignitis Group, to say a welcome word. Živilė?
Thank you, Živile, and hello, everyone. It's my pleasure to have so many of you here. Of course, virtual, but still we are all together in the same room. And as Ignitis Group, we are proud to be here and encourage women to develop maybe game-changing ideas, making the world more sustainable. Of course, let's start from some facts. And of course, you know the fact that in European Union, we have more women than men. But have you heard the fact that female startup entrepreneurs, they represent only 1/3 of employed people? And another fact that I found very interesting in HBR's article of Tara Moore, that men apply for a job when they meet only 60% of qualifications, while women apply to the job when they meet 100% of them. Why is that? Tara explains that that is because we have a little bit other habits. Of course, women are afraid failure more than men. And we have a habit of following the guidelines. If we don't have an opportunity to tick all the boxes, then we will not take a risk. Can we share that? And why is that? I can share my own story. When some years ago, I worked in a bank and we acquired another bank and we had challenge to merge it. And I remember the day when our CEO, he came into my office and he said, Živile, I have a proposal for you. You have to head this merger. First thought was, you gotta be kidding me. It's a crazy idea or it's a joke because I'm a lawyer. I work in a business support side and I don't know how to run the bank, run one bank. And I asked, do you want me to run two banks simultaneously and try to merge them with a different IT system, different management teams, different products and customers? I was scared, but and then tried to list all my colleagues, to list their names and offer maybe he or she can do that better. They are better candidates for that challenge. He smiled and stopped me. You cannot list me names of folks I already know, and please don't list what you cannot do, because I know what you can do and I will support you. And I remember that that was the tipping point when I felt that instead of feeling of fear to risk and to take this responsibility, I felt that I'm excited and I'm very curious about this challenge. And I did it and we did it successfully. Of course, it was not easy and not without mistakes, but still it was very challenging and very stretching for me. So answer to all these whys, it is because we are a little bit different and we need a support or such inspiring and safe space like this innovation sprint to be all together, to ask stupid questions, to experiment, to make mistakes, to take risks, and to learn from each other. And please don't wait for someone will come and will invite you to share your voice. Please don't ask for permission to lead, and don't listen to your inner critic saying that you are not ready yet. So I really wish you all the best in this sprint. And this sprint is not only for disruptive or revolutionary innovations. It's for our growth. So good luck and thank you.
Thank you, Živile. Thank you for sharing such an inspiring story of yours. And thank you, Ignitis Group, for supporting this initiative. And we will continue our opening ceremony with a special guest tuning in from Copenhagen, a well-recognized innovator and a woman who is changing the world. Let's give a word to my colleague, Migle, who is going to reveal the secret behind. Migle?
Thank you, Živile. Again, welcome everyone to the Alta State Innovation Sprint. Good evening, Delphi TV viewers and dear participants. I want to introduce you to a very special guest, a scientist, European Women Innovator of the Year, professor at Technical University of Denmark, and research group leader at Novo Nordisk's Foundation Center for Biosustainability, and a founder of startup BioFero, Dr. Irina Borodina. Good evening, Irina.
Good evening. Thank you very much for the introduction, Mila.
I'm so thrilled that we have you on the sprint, and I have tons of questions. But when I was doing homework for this conversation, I found a very interesting fact. You have graduated from Kaunas University of Technology. What is your relationship with Lithuania?
I was born and I grew up in Kaunas, so Lithuania is my motherland. I'm from a mixed family. I have Russian, Lithuanian, Belarusian roots. We spoke Russian at home, but when I went to St. Petersburg some years ago, they complimented me on my very good Russian and my very charming Baltic accent. So apparently, I'm a mix of different cultures. But nevertheless, Lithuania is my home country. I go there every year. I still have my parents and grandmother living there. And I also love Lithuanian food. So whenever we have celebrations, I love to cook cepelinai.
Oh, wow. Very nice to hear. So tell me a little bit, how did it happen that you turned to science? Was it a very clear vision that you had and pursued? Or was it just some accidental turns here and there that made you who you are today?
I think for my career choice, I must thank my teachers. And that's because they were extraordinary people who gave us much more complex tasks. Not standard tasks, but something interesting, something exciting, something you could explore. You would sit like with some physics task the whole evening, like trying to figure out, well, how does it work? How does it work? And then, all of a sudden, you got an idea. And I think this joy of discovery, that's something what I must thank them for. And they also always encouraged us like to participate in Olympiads and to do all kinds of extracurricular activities. I think this is really, really important in building this interest and also building the confidence, and particularly for girls. So it's quite interesting that girls, they usually have the same abilities in math and sciences as boys, but they usually have better abilities, even better abilities in social sciences and languages. And that's why when they compare what they're good at, they believe that they're much better. Well, and they are, many of them. They're better at social sciences. And then many of them choose to go in that direction and build their career there. While actually they are equally good as boys in science. So they could make an excellent career there if they just thought that this was interesting. And that's why I think that there's different activities that build this interest. They're super important. I know about one of them actually in Kaunas, and that's run by my former classmate and a good friend, Vladimir Orlov, who has transformed the 7th fort into a living museum where they have equipped scientific laboratories and where they run different, they run science club. So, the same as you go to football, there you go to science. And I visited them, and they have a lot of girls who participate as well. And this is how I think how you basically encourage this.
So basically, it starts with teachers, actually.
It starts with teachers, yes. Absolutely, they're so important. My husband is a teacher, and he teaches math and physics, chemistry, and he is so passionate about math, and he thinks math is so fun that when he takes over some class who actually thought that the math was really boring, then all of a sudden many students, they change their mind and they think math is exciting. And he also runs some so he encourages his children to participate in this young scientist event that happens in Denmark every year. And kids, they get so engaged, like they make some like real scientific projects. I had some school kids coming to my lab to do some part of the experiments. It's amazing.
Wow. And then the gender doesn't really matter at that age, as I understand.
It doesn't. I mean, everybody has their ability. There is no difference between, there is no bias there.
Mm-hmm. So what happens afterwards when women join academia? What happened when you join academia? I hear a lot about stereotypes of women in academia. Do you stumble on these?
There is a certain there is some difference for sure. So there, as you go higher up in their academia, you see that there are fewer and fewer women who make it to the top. It's also true for companies, actually. If you look at their managerial roles, there are much fewer women there than men. And the question is, of course, why is that? And this has been investigated a lot. And I think academia is a particularly tough world because our productivity is estimated by our publication output. And it has been clearly shown that when women get a child, that their productivity for some years while the child is small is going to drop. So I think this, because usually this coincides with a very important part of their career when they are doing maybe their postdoc, this lack of this reduced productivity will impact their next career step, and it might make it more difficult for them to obtain an academic position and a tenured position. So, and of course, the most interesting question is why it happens. And a colleague, a professor in statistics, Cassidy Suginomoto from USA, she has recently published a study where they have investigated 10,000 academic researchers, both men and women.
A lot.
And yes, and their commitments, their parental commitments, and how these parental commitments, how they influence their research productivity. And it's very interesting already to see how committed men and women are to the parental duties, because there is a huge difference there. So about a quarter of the women, they said that they are the primary caretaker, which means that they do most of the things in relation to the child upbringing. While only, I think, 3 or 4% of men said that they are the primary caretaker. So that's a huge difference. And then there was also some couples where they said that they are like a dual caretaker. So they share the responsibilities equally. But then when they dug more into the details of what exactly responsibilities they take, like, who bring kids to like ballet or to the doctor, who, keeps track of some play dates and things like that. It turned out actually that even in these dual couples, which said that they share the responsibilities equally, it were women who were doing most of the tasks. So clearly women have, and this also has, and if you look at the effect of their on the productivity, then clearly, like once you, when you become like, for example, the primary caretaker, then the productivity is lower than if you, for example, share. And for women and men, even if they share, for women, the productivity is lower. So, and that's because of this hidden burden, most likely, of parental responsibilities. And there is also another thing that's the women also tend to do this at work. So they are more linked to undertake some tasks that for which they maybe will not be that much credited for, which are not research related. So this could be some social task at work, organizing something, participating in some committee or something else. And this is not well appreciated once, they have to go for, once there is their promotion available, then, it might be their male colleague who didn't do any of this extra things, but who was mainly focusing on publishing, who will be promoted and not themselves. So in relation to this, one can say, to women, there is a very good Lithuanians saying, and that's kas veža tam ir krauna. So I don't know how to translate it in English. It's something like the one who pulls the burden, that's the one who will get more burden.
Yes.
So women should be better at saying no. Yes. So, if you, for example, you as a woman, you have a possibility to go to a conference for a week, and it's in your field, there are very exciting people who are going to be there, and you're thinking, oh my God, how am I going to leave this? Or, how am I going to leave my family? Is my husband going to manage? Are my kids going to eat, to get any food, or, get to school or anything like that? Then you turn it around in your head and you think, okay, well, if my husband had this possibility, would he even consider not going? And if that's the case, then just go. So I think that women should be better at saying no, and then I think they will have better chance of making it there where they want to be.
But that's exactly what I was thinking, even though it's probably archaic. But sometimes when I talk to my girlfriends, I say, okay, now women is talking. So step into men's shoes and think what he would do in your place. And that's it. Oh, okay.
It's a wonderful exercise, really. Magic. That's magic. So I know it on my own, from my own situation, but that's because my husband has been so supportive, and that's the reason that I could actually have a career in science, because he actually does do the heavy lifting at home, like heavy lifting in regard of the parental duty.
Yeah. Wow, that's very interesting, actually. So now, could you explain to our participants and Delphi TV audience, what is Women Innovator of the Year?
Women Innovator of the Year is a European prize to innovative women who have brought some innovation to the market and also established a successful company based on this innovation. And the way how I learned about it was because there were several of my colleagues who sent me links to this award website, and they said, this should be something for you. I was like, really? But then I applied anyway, and there was selected among finalists, and then also received the award. And I think that probably the best part about it was meeting the other women innovators and getting inspired by their passion, enthusiasm, and also by their creations. So one of them was from Israel, and she has established a company which makes very, very special concrete. So it's a concrete with a particular structure which promotes marine growth. So if you use this concrete blocks for building the harbor, then you will enhance their sea life in this harbor. And also, apparently, even though she was criticized by some of her male colleagues that this concrete will not be strong enough, it turned out, because it's more porous or something like that, it actually turned out, but due to the building of their different sea life and particular shells on this concrete, it was stronger than the normal concrete, and it was like more durable. So I think it was amazing innovations. Her name is Shimri, and I really loved talking to her. And another innovation that also really impressed me was by a Turkish woman, Ozge, and she started a company that makes very good models of human organs. So their first product is a model of breast, and they make it exactly, they try to exactly reproduce the anatomy of the breast and also all the tissues and so on, so that all the materials they choose in such a way that it behaves like a real organ. And these organs, these models of the organs, they're used for surgeons to train. So they're used in medical universities or during residency and so on. So the doctors have a possibility to practice on the surgery.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, so it's like the breadth
Many
of
amazing
innovation
things.
was amazing. Exactly, it was everything. But I think what was common for probably all their innovations was that they were very impactful. So either in regard of environment or socially, or had some really great benefit.
But when you talk about this kind of innovation, it, for me at least, it looks like a genius, only a genius could have thought about that. So, and today you are a mentor of Alter State Innovation Sprint. What, in your opinion, makes someone an innovator? How would you describe them?
Innovation is actually does not need to be very scientifically complicated or something absolutely genius. It can be just as simple as, for example, the wheels for the luggage, which were only invented recently. So what it takes is really just to see a problem and find a solution for this problem, which is original, effective, and which would be demanded on the market. So that's more or less it. It doesn't need to be anything very complex. It can be also, but it doesn't have to be. Innovation can be something simple.
Okay, so here at Alter State, we talk a lot about the path from initial idea to the real product, or maybe even business. As a startup owner and an innovator yourself, what were main lessons you could now give away to future innovators?
Yeah, so I think probably the main lesson that I learned is that you need to, when you want to bring your innovation from something proof of concept to the market, there are very many skills that you need. And one person alone, or two people, or three people, probably even that, might not have all the necessary skills. So you need to build a team around your idea. You need to build their expertise. You need to find the experts, but also people who are passionate about this idea, so that you can work together. So when I look at their BioFerro, so that's the company that I started and which works on biotechnological production of pheromones for pest control, so that we can reduce the usage of the toxic insecticides in our agriculture. That requires a breadth of expertise. So we have biotechnologists, so scientists who work with cell engineering. At the same time, we also have chemists, we have analytical chemists, we have business developers. We also have our network of partners who formulate pheromones. So it's basically all these are people who can make it a reality. And that's what's very important, is to bring the people together around this idea and then to move forward together.
But when you are basically alone with your idea, is it something, I don't know, some skills you need to have maybe? Or you're just like Joe of all trades, trying with this and this and doing finances and marketing? What do you think?
There are some companies that are very small, and where you can just manage being a very few people, or even I have seen companies where there are only two people.
Okay.
So I was participating 2 years ago. I think I was participating at the DTU such an alumni innovators fair. Which was a very interesting experience, because DTU, Denmark Technical University, they have a lot of startups, also made by students, by faculty. It's a very innovative university. And once a year, they invite everybody who has started a company and was based at DTU to gather for like an informal event, for some dinner and some talks. And when I was participating there were maybe about 200 people. And I think we were 3 women out of 200.
Wow.
Very few women. And one of them was this woman who started the company, which so far there are only, I think, 2 people. And she's the programmer. And the partner with whom she's working, he's their salesperson. So she writes the programs, and it's actually programs for children to learn how to program. And he markets them. And it's quite funny that when they go to any business meeting, usually people will assume that it's the sales person who's the programmer, and then they get very surprised to hear that it's her who is the programmer. But I think it's also possible. But still, then you need to encompass more skills, or probably get assistance also from your network for the skills that you lack.
Okay, good to know.
Or hire somebody part-time, I don't know.
Before wrapping things up, what are your current projects and plans? What are you working on at the moment?
So we always have a lot of projects going on in university. And one of the recent projects was development of yeast to make psilocybin and psilocybin derivatives. Psilocybin is known as actually it's a psychedelic compound from mushrooms, but recently it has shown a lot of promise as treatment for depressions. And it's also being investigated for treatment of some other diseases, such as cluster headache, for example. So by producing it in yeast, we can actually make a stable supply of this compound and also make different derivatives of it that maybe have a different type of activity. So this technology for production of psilocybin and its derivatives, it's now been licensed to Octarine Bio, a small startup company that their postdoc from my lab has started, and where he's CSO, and hopefully they will manage to bring it to the market. So I really cross my fingers for them. And another project that I can give an example of, it's also related to mushrooms, but this time it's for everybody. So it's not just a drug, it's very healthy.
I thought about it. Okay.
Compound. So it's agathionine, and it's a kind of an amino acid. So it's composed of 3 amino acids, and it's a very powerful antioxidant. So some studies, they show that it's highly correlated with decreased incidence of neurological disorders, and also with a decreased risk of some heart failure and so on. So it seems to be a very healthy compound, but the only dietary source of this compound is mushrooms. And many people don't eat mushrooms, so they don't eat enough mushrooms, because you need to eat like more or less mushrooms every day to get enough of this compound. So that's why we made a yeast that can produce this compound, so people can just take it in a pill. And also hopefully this technology will manage to commercialize in a few years.
Wow. So until then, we should eat the mushrooms?
Until then, yes, eat a lot of mushrooms. So mushroom every day.
Wow.
It's also super tasty.
Yeah, we're here in Lithuania. We have a lot of mushrooms. So lastly, your final words to our participants and those who are still tiny hesitant to start innovating. What could you tell them?
I could tell them that they should just do it. If you have an idea and you're passionate about it, there should be nothing that should stop you from making it happen. So I think they should just believe in themselves and try it out. And this innovation sprint, I think it's a wonderful opportunity to try it in a very safe environment. You're not burning investors' money, or you're not burning your own money. So it's like more or less like a mental exercise. But you can try it out and see how it develops, and it's actually a lot of fun to develop new concepts, and then implementing them.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Irina, a lot. And for our participants, I want to remind you that you'll have an extraordinary opportunity to meet Irina yourself, as she is one of our mentors. So stay with us. Really, Irina, that was amazing talk to you. Meanwhile, thank you all for watching us on Delphi TV. This was the opening of Alta State, Nordic-Baltic Innovation Sprint. And we'll see you on the 10th of December for our final live event, for Best Innovation Awards. So stay tuned.
Thank you, Miguel and Irina, for this insightful conversation. It was very interesting. And right now, it's time to go back to the basics and hear more about the altar state. So, what is this project all about? Who is behind the project? And what are our goals across the Nordic and Baltic countries? Together with Ina, a co founder of Alter State, we're going to guide you through this journey. Ina?
So Alter State has actually been established a few months ago. It started off as a very casual conversation between four friends. We were basically just sharing our experience of what's going on within the innovation state in Lithuania. And we soon realized that innovation practice is not as well established here. And the same is true across the whole of Baltic and Nordic region. So what we wanted to do is to share our expertise and experience and establish this platform for women like us to help each other and to support each other in innovative thinking. It's essentially meant to be a place where we share innovation methodologies, where we connect with each other, and we provide innovation mentorship whenever we need it. So welcome to the Alter State, a community of fearless women enabling each other to thrive in the tech world. We started as a small team, but we've grown really quickly. What you see in here is the key members who made this project a reality, and we couldn't be more grateful for them. Our community is ever growing, and we have more volunteers joining us every single day. Thank you all for that. There's three things that make this sprint unique. One is we're going to take you through the process of idea development, prototype building and testing, business model development, and sales pitch. That is the whole end-to-end innovation creation experience. You are going to be given rather intense methodology training and mentorship throughout. Second is we are focusing on social development goals within the sprint. That means that all participant projects and ideas will be dedicated to solving these challenges one at a time. And last, we want you to gain not just innovation methodology, but also grow your STEAM skills throughout. So your focus on science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics.
And this project wouldn't have happened without our amazing partners and sponsors. Thank you to Ignitus Group, thank you to Rocket, Future Leadership, and all the partners you can see here in this slide who are located all over Europe, and which is amazing. Thank you again for your support. And of course, huge shout out for the mentors who found time to join this initiative. We have mentors from European Commission, from different innovation hubs, AI professionals, founders, VCs. Thank you. The teams are so happy to have you on board and that they will be guided through their journey following your experiences and examples. And how does our weeks of the sprint look like? So today we're having this opening event. The participants will have an introduction to each other. They will meet their mentors. And tomorrow we're having a kickoff sprint evening with innovation training. That's where the hard work is going to start. The teams will be working for upcoming weeks, and for you, dear viewers of Delphi TV, we will be open again on December 10th for the final ceremony, where you will be able to hear inspirational speeches and, of course, sales pitch presentations from our teams. I know that you're all eager to meet your teams and start working on your challenges. And Ina, are you ready to present the teams what they need to do next?
Yes, absolutely. So tonight is the easy night. What we want you to do is actually two rather quick exercises. First of all, we want you to introduce yourselves. That is a chance for yourselves to get to know each other within the team. Where do you come from? Why did you join this sprint in the first place? What are you intending to achieve in here? And how do you think you should be or behave in order for the team to be a success? This could be anything from being supportive, being attentive, listening to what others are saying, or anything at all. The second part of the activity is slightly more difficult, But it's essentially about transitioning the ownership of the challenge from the idea owner to the team. I would ask all of the idea owners to present the challenge that they originally created and to talk about the background of it. Why did you come up with it in the first place? What made you think that this would be an important challenge to solve? Share it with your team. And team members, please be supportive. Please have that yes and mentality. And please build that challenge out and consider how would you want to solve it in the days to come.
Thank you, Ina. So when this broadcast ends, please find your team according to the number you received in the invitation email. It is located in the sessions area where you have to join your team. So join the session and meet your amazing team and mentor. And if you have any questions, please use Slack to ask the organizers. We're also going to stick around in the Hopin platform. So help desk is at your support and your convenience. And tomorrow, we start sharp 5 p.m. GMT +2 time zone at Hopin by a live broadcast, and then we will continue our work later in sessions with your teams. So have a wonderful opening evening, everyone. Meet your teams, meet your mentors, and then see you tomorrow at 5.